Hello, sports fans. Welcome to the One Hit Wonder podcast featuring your host, Jalal Leach. Born in San Francisco, California, raised in Novato, California, product of San Ramon Elementary, Sinaloa Middle School, and the Mustangs of San Marin High School. And soon thereafter, was fortunate to get a baseball scholarship to Pepperdine University, go Waves. And after spending 3 miraculous years in Malibu, drafted in the 7th round by the New York Yankees in the 1990 draft. After spending 12 years in the minor leagues, some people call me insane, I made my major league debut with the San Francisco Giants in 2001, getting my one and only hit off of Octavio Dotel, shout out Octavio Dotel, thus making me the one-hit wonder. You at home may be asking, why is Leachy doing a podcast? Well, my baseball range, knowledge, experience is so vast with so many people of so many different walks of life. It has taken me literally all over the world. Every part of America, Latin America. I've been to the Pacific Rim, Australia, you name it. Where they play baseball, there's a good chance I've been there. And as I go down this journey, I'm going to start back to my youth, to the present. And basically, people say, wow, you played in the big leagues. Yes. And people say, wow, why did you only have one hit in the big leagues? Why do you have a cup of coffee in the big leagues? Whenever I hear that phrase, a cup of coffee, my blood boils. I looked up on AI today the stats to make it to the major leagues. Do you know, according to AI, Little League International alone has approximately 2 million players annually worldwide. This isn't even travel ball. And only about 0.015% of those youth players will see a day in the big leagues. So for the cup of coffee people out there, it is extremely hard to play in the big leagues. I think you probably have as good of a chance at winning the lotto or hitting the lotto as you do to play in the big leagues. So I do not take it lightly when someone makes it to the major leagues. It is life-altering, life-changing, and it's cool, and it's something you will be in the history books forever. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about my childhood playing youth sports. As we see in today's society, things are so specialized, and I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but I know when I was a kid, we played whatever sport was in season. So I'm going to talk about my big three: basketball, baseball, of course, and football. Those were the sports I played as a child growing up, and I just wanted to have fun like everyone else. The first sport I want to talk about is basketball. I absolutely loved basketball as a kid growing up. It was my dream, goal, all I watched, all I cared about, all I thought about, all I practiced. We had the goal in front of the house. That's all I wanted to do was play basketball. And it didn't help or hurt that I was 6 feet tall at age 12. So here I am thinking I'm going to be 6'7", 6'8", which it didn't turn out to be because I think I'm shrinking now. I think I'm under 6'2" now. But I loved everything basketball. And back then, ESPN only showed games in the Big East. So I was all about Georgetown, Syracuse, St. John's, Patrick Ewing, Chris Mullin, and the boys. That's all I watched day in and day out was basketball. I went to so many basketball camps as a kid. I just knew I wanted to play big time college basketball. And hopefully in the NBA one day was what I was dreaming. I was obsessed with it. And I thought I was pretty good as I played all the way through high school, and I could really jump because I could dunk a basketball in the 8th grade at 6 foot, whatever I was. So the jumping ability, thanks mom and dad, was there, and I absolutely loved hooped until my sophomore year when the game of baseball was thrusted to a higher level. The next sport I participated in as a youth was football. Once again, just like all the sports, we played what was in the season. And when late summer to the fall rolled around, we played in the San Marin Pop Warner football organization, which ranged from the lower levels of the Colts up to the junior Mustangs, I believe, which was 8th grade. And I did all the levels all the way through. I enjoyed it. I was fast. I was athletic. But as I got closer to high school and as we got bigger, well, the hits got to be a little bit harder. And pain really wasn't my thing, taking it or inflicting it. So quickly, once I got ready to go to high school, my dad, the disciplinarian, said you can only play 2 sports in high school because you need time for your academics. So I only could play 2 sports. And I knew I was playing basketball. And I knew I no longer wanted that Sunday morning stiff neck and body from football. So football was quickly eliminated. Even though the coaches at San Marin High School tried to get me out there, I said I am only a 2-sport guy now, and I am going to play basketball and baseball. And that's where my football career ended, in the 8th grade. So football, I like watching you, but it was not for me. The contact was not for me. Now I want to talk about the sport that I love, that I'm still in, that I played from the Hawks of Novato to the major leagues of the Giants. Baseball. Baseball, as Sammy Sosa would say, has been very, very good to me. Shout out Sammy. But no, I started at 9. I did not play T-ball. I did not play. We had Pee Wee back then in Nevada. I didn't play that for some reason. I played on the 9-year-old Hawks in the minor leagues, learning the game at Marion, I believe, middle school. It's probably not there anymore in Nevada. With no fences, we had cones on the field. And I just remember playing and wearing that. I still have the hat. I may have to put it on one of these days. Hawks hat, and playing on the 9-year-old team, just trying to be a part of it like everything else. One thing I do remember about the 9-year-old Hawks team is I pitched. And I remember when I pitched, I put more than 2 fingers on the ball. I think 3 or 4 because my hands probably weren't big enough yet. And I would throw a ball, and for some reason, I would get the batters to swing and miss. Unbeknownst to me, or not knowing, what I was throwing was a changeup. I just didn't know it. So I thought I invented a pitch, the 3 or 4 fingered fastball, and all it was I was just changing the grip, and I was going from the fastball to the changeup and pulling the string, and that's why I was getting the batters to swing and miss. As far as hitting or catching the ball at 9 years old, I don't remember anything else. I do remember when I was 10, listen up, kids, when I should have been one of the top picks going into the majors for Little League, that I was having difficulties at school. I was just being a little mischievous, getting in fights, disagreements with fellow students. Shout out Katrina. I just had a hard time focusing. So when it was time for, and my grades were suffering. So when it was time for Little League tryouts, my mom and dad pulled a big one on me. They said, Jalal, you are not playing Little League this year. no tryouts, no team. You need to get yourself in order. What a devastation to a 10-year-old. And I never forget, and I'll tell this story from time to time, is one day we were sitting at a bench at San Ramon, or sitting on a bench, I'm sorry. And the yard duty came down and asked everyone on the bench what team were they on. You know, Mets, Cardinals, Phillies, Pirates. And I was sitting towards the end, and the yard duty said, "What team do you play on?" I said, "I hate baseball. It's a stupid sport." I was so hurt and embarrassed that all my friends and buddies, they were all on a team, and my parents just pulled the plug on me. I know it was probably tough on me because I remember the coaches calling him, "Mr. Leach, I'll help him with his homework. I'll keep him in order." And my mom and dad was like, "Nope, he is not playing this year." So I didn't get to do the tryouts as a 10-year-old, and I never ever got it back. And so I quickly changed my tune. I cleaned up my act, my grades. I stopped getting in disagreements at school, everything. My room was clean. And for my birthday, my parents told me they put me on the waiting list for Little League. Well, I couldn't go to the majors because the tryouts had come and gone. The teams had been picked and the season was about to start. But I was picked up by the Dragons, led by Jess Munyon. Shout out, Mr. Munyon. And on that team were some really cool guys. One guy, Sean Moss, rest in peace, Sean, that I became tremendous friends with all the way through high school. And I just played and had fun. But I knew in the back of my mind, I probably should have been in the majors. But hey, I had to learn a hard lesson. So the next year, when tryouts rolled around again, yes, I cleaned my act up. I was ready to go, and I was drafted by the Cardinals, headed by one of my Mount Rushmore of coaches, Mr. Bob Selna. Rest in peace, Coach Selna. And there in Little League, it just continued on to Benjaminos and Babe Ruth, to Joe DiMaggio, to American Legion, and of course, high school. But I just played just like everyone else, not really knowing where the game was going to take me or if I had potential. But I tell the story of when I was in Little League playing for Mr. Selna, and he used to be really hard on me as an 11-year-old. Like, we do pop-up drills. He'd hit them right to the other kids, and then I would come up. He would crank it over my head and yell at me and make me go get it. And my dad was the assistant. And I'm 11. I'd come back crying, and I had glasses. I had to push my glasses up. Why is he making me run farther for the ball? And my dad was like, "I don't know, but he's a coach. Whatever he says, you have to do it." And what I learned years later from Coach Selna was he saw talent in me. But I was 11. I didn't understand it. But he was pushing me to do my best because he knew that there was a chance that I could go somewhere with the game of baseball. So I appreciated that years later. I didn't understand it at age 11 and 12, but now I do. And I've always kept him on my Mount Rushmore of coaches for being hard on me and pushing me to the limit so I could take it to where I took it, because I just wanted to play and have fun like everyone else. And basically, that's all it was for me. Playing these sports as a youth were about discipline, teamwork, and most importantly, fun. I mean, it wasn't life or death. It wasn't the end of the world. It was about having fun. And I can't stress to the kids enough today. Have fun when you're out there playing your sports. It is not the end of the world. Even major leagues, those guys are having fun. Yes, it's their jobs. Yes, they have to perform. But I know deep down inside, they're like big kids just playing to have fun every time they step on that ball field. So young ball players out there, I don't care what sport it is, enjoy the process and enjoy the game, because we can't play forever. I used to think I could, but I mean, I eventually the cleats had to come off. I mean, there's only so many LeBron Jameses and Tom Brady's in the world, but even Tom Terrific had to take the spikes and the pads off. So enjoy the ride and the process. And parents, support your kids. Keep it fun. Don't think they are pros. Do not think they are pros. I have so many stories about parents who just put so much pressure on their kids. It was amazing, so keep it fun and enjoyable, because at the end of the day, it's like a friend of mine used to say, I'd much rather pay for my kids' youth sports than to pay for a young person in rehab if they get sidetracked in life. So keep it fun, keep it interesting, and kids, listen to your parents, because everything that you've done, they did it too. So they know. So if it's cleaning your room or tightening up your schoolwork or whatever, you can shun them. I've been there, talk back. I've been there. But I'm telling you, they have your best interests in mind always. Always, always. But go out there and enjoy it. Hope this podcast wasn't too much of a run-on. I'm going to try to do this, I don't know how often, but I will try to do it when something pops in my mind, because I know I have a lot of baseball stories over my 30 years of professional baseball, plus college, plus high school, Little League, almost my entire lifetime. And until next time, keep your eye on the ball. This is Leachy, one hit wonder. Peace out.